All right, dudes and girls, you got through phase 1. Now it's moving on to phase 2. It's increasing the amount of days you're going to be working out. We're going from 3 days full body workouts to a 4-day body split. So now we're going to be splitting up the body into different and separate body groups. So day 1 is going to be chest and triceps, moving on to back and biceps, then legs, and then shoulders. So now we're splitting it up into 4 separate days, creating more stress on the muscle groups themselves, and also implementing more isolation exercises too, to increase the amount of stress put on the smaller muscle groups and cause more hypertrophy in them as well. Also implementing a little bit more calisthenics as well, body weight exercises to increase energy consumption and also decrease the need for more gym equipment.
And we're trying to keep these videos fast-paced and to the point, but remember that you want to do 5 to 10 minutes of warming up, either walking, jogging, or jump roping, and then another 5 to 10 minutes of mobility workout before every single day on this whole workout plan. And as we're doing upper body today, you'll just have to do your upper body mobility exercises. All right, everybody, are you ready? Let's get started with day 1. All right, we are getting day 1 started off with the push-ups using the parallel bar supersetted with the barbell floor press. As you can see, Brandon's just using the parallel bar in order to kind of rack it, get it off, and then get started. And then he's doing 4 sets of 15 reps each. Again, if you haven't seen the parallel bars before, or you'd like to know how to build your own for cheap, just check out our do-it-yourself video. We built ours for about under 50 bucks. They're a great tool to have in any home gym.
So what you want to focus on the parallel push-ups is the range of motion coming all the way down for the full stretch of the chest and only coming partially all the way up. So coming all the way down, get the full stretch in the chest, come about 3/4 of the way up and come right back down. Get that nice time under tension in the chest. Immediately going on to the floor press. Now with the floor press, you can't get the complete range of motion, meaning you can't bring the bar all the way down to the sternum to get a nice stretch in the chest. You're actually taking care of that with the parallel push-ups. So what you're doing is you're focusing on the lockout and getting a nice squeeze at the top position. Hit a little bit of the triceps, but really try to engage the chest, the top position as much as you can, keeping the shoulders back and contracted. That way the chest gets most of the push and there's gonna be less in the front delts.
We're moving on to landmine press, 4 sets of 12 reps. You may notice a little difference in the landmine presses we're doing in this phase as opposed to phase 1. As we said in phase 1, we were starting off with higher reps, higher sets, and slightly lower weight as well. Whereas in this one, we're decreasing the sets and reps, we're upping the weight to focus a little bit more on hypertrophy. And as Brandon mentioned last week, for those of you who don't have access to an incline bench or of an incline of any sort, that's where the landmine press comes in, because you can still focus on upper chest using this great exercise.
Underhand dumbbell flies. This is an isolation exercise, so you really just want the shoulder joint to be working throughout the motion. Kind of envision like a pyramid, and you're following the pyramid up to the peak as you bring the dumbbells together at the very top. Your arms are just gonna be above parallel at the top position, getting a nice squeeze in the chest, really trying to hit the upper chest on this one. A nice even pace. We're gonna hit 4 sets, 12 reps.
Parallel dips, 3 sets of 20 reps. As opposed to phase 1, we're upping the reps and we're lowering the sets a little bit. Hopefully by now you have greater muscle endurance having survived phase 1 and you're ready for the higher amount of reps in this phase, phase 2. And remember, dudes and girls, if you take a look at phase 2, phase 3, and you feel, man, I'm really not ready for that, I think I'd rather stay on phase 1 for a little while, that's great because we built the program this way. If you feel comfortable staying on phase 1 for, let's say, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, absolutely feel free to get your body ready for this. Everyone's bodies are different and some people are at different places in their lives than others. So stay on the phase as long as you feel comfortable and move on to the next. We're doing each phase in 3-week segments. You can feel free to up those or lower those if you feel you can move on.
All right, we have the body weight tricep extension. I performed it on the parallel bar to create a little bit more difficult exercise, a little bit more stretch in the tricep, increases the range of motion slightly. Where Hudson did it from the floor, he pretty much just wanted to show everyone that you didn't necessarily need the parallel bar to do this exercise, especially if you're a little bit more of a beginner lifter. So you can do it from the floor, just kind of imagine the same form and the same motion as a skull crusher. Like the floor is the bar and you're extending the elbows to a locked position working the triceps. Same goes with the parallel bar, but this is gonna be a little bit more difficult because it's going to increase your stabilizer muscles because you're stabilizing your body throughout the motion. You're above the floor. The parallel bar is gonna kind of want to move slightly, so you kind of have to be a little bit more of an advanced lifter and know how to tweak your body in the right position, the right form to get the full range and the full benefit of that exercise. So it's pretty much just showing you two different ways to do bodyweight tricep extensions, and you're gonna be performing this 3 sets till failure. Now you really gotta focus on this failure mark because a lot of times your mind will trick you and want you to give up before your muscles really do, and you gotta remember that the mind controls the muscle. So if you have the will to get through 5, 6, 7, 8 reps and you push yourself a little bit farther, then that's when you get the full benefit of every exercise. As long as your form's not breaking, or as long as you don't feel any discomfort and feel like you're actually getting injured, just push through that barrier because that's when you're gonna get the results. Landmine 180s, it's gonna be 3 sets of 20 reps. It's gonna be 10 reps each side. What you wanna concentrate on this one is get a nice wide stance for a good base of support. You don't wanna move your hips back and forth too much. You wanna keep them pretty stable because you want a nice stretch in each oblique as you pull it across your body, working that transverse abdominis. And what you wanna do is get a nice even tempo. You don't wanna jerk it too much. You're gonna be working in a half circle, and that's why it's called the Landmine 180s. These are a great exercise for the abdominals, transverse abdominals especially, and also the obliques as well. Abdominal roller wheel, or the wheel of pain. What you want to do is get on the knees, pretty wide stance in the knees, about shoulder width or even wider to make that nice base of support. Taking that wheel and pushing it straight out in front of you, getting that nice stretch in the abdominals, but also the lower back or the rectus spinae are going to contract to stabilize the spine throughout the motion, much like a plank, and then you're going to be contracting those abs to pull the wheel back in. Do not keep your hips too high in this motion. You want to flatten them out so you're in that plank position at the end position until you pull your body back up to the top position. That way you get the full benefit of this exercise. You're going to be completing 3 sets of 15 reps.
All right, rise and shine. We are on day 2 of phase 2, and we're gonna be working back and biceps, starting out with the Pendlay row. 4 sets, 12 reps. This is an excellent back exercise, and we're hitting it right now.
Phase 2, the sets and reps are going to decrease as you want the weight to increase. So phase 1 was really concentrating on perfecting form and the major compound movements, getting you used to it, getting that muscle endurance up, and now phase 2 comes along. You're gonna up the weight and make sure you stress those muscles to try to gain a little bit of size, especially lean body mass, and also really work on that muscle endurance as well because it's still high volume. We're still doing 4 sets, but now we're decreasing it down to 12 reps instead of the 5 sets by 15 reps. So make sure add a little bit of weight on there and really put a lot of work on those muscles, especially in these big compound movements like deadlifts.
And if you have problems at any time during these phases, you don't know what an exercise is or you don't know how to perform it, we have tutorials for all the exercises we're performing in the description of each video. So feel free and use them along with the 12-week PDF that you can download in the description of each video. The single arm landmine row. The great thing about this exercise is that it can be an alternative to the single arm dumbbell row, which you usually do in the gym. And that's the whole thing about having a home gym, is sometimes you need to think of alternatives to commonly used exercises like we're doing now. We only have 2 pairs of dumbbells in our home gym, so we couldn't quite get heavy enough in order to perform the exercise. That's why we're using the barbell. We just shoved it in the corner and now we're repping it out. We're doing 4 sets of 12 reps.
Good mornings, 3 sets, 12 reps. You want to keep this really light. We're stretching the lower back and hamstring, so that's why you want to keep it light too, because if you go too heavy, you're going to feel too much stress on that lower back and your back's going to start to round. Another thing to remember is place the bar on the upper back rather than the base of the neck, because what's going to happen is if it's the base of the neck, it's going to be putting a pinch in that neck and possible injury in wanting to pull you forward. So make sure the bar is comfortably rested just like you're about to do a squat, but just get a wide stance in the feet, push the hips back with the knees locked, so that way you get a nice stretch in the hamstrings, but also some good work in the lower back, which is the rectus spinae.
Pull-ups, 3 sets, each one till failure. Remember, push as hard as you can. Even if you're ready to quit, you may still have a few reps left in you. So do as many as you can. And if you need an alternative to pull-ups, if you're not able to quite do them right, check the video out because we offer some great alternatives to work up to doing your very first pull-up. Also, you may notice we're using our power rack. We're simply using this for the pull-up attachment. If you don't have a power rack, feel free to get like a pull-up in your doorway, door frame, use the side of your garage, anything you can in order to complete that pull-up. It's a little bit of a DIY style, but that's what this home workout is all about. Barbell curls, 3 sets, 10 reps. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Load it up with some weight and build those guns.
Zotman curl, 3 sets till failure. These are following right with barbell curls. So you're pretty much really exhausting those biceps with the barbell curls with heavier weight, 3 times 10, and then you're moving on to the Zotman curls with 3 sets till failure. These are really working on the supinating factor of the forearm and also the flexion of the elbow, really working on the extensors of the forearm as well as the biceps and the brachioradialis and brachialis. So it's really hitting those arms and you're really trying to take it to that failure point, getting that nice burn in there, and we guarantee it, you'll feel it after you're done.
All right, here we go with day 3 of phase 2, and we're gonna be hitting legs, because everybody loves leg day, right? We're getting it started with squats, which is gonna be 4 sets of 12 reps, and we're supersetting that with jumping split squats, which is gonna be 4 sets of 20 reps or 10 repetitions for each leg. This one is really gonna kick your ass and ours. But hey, that's what this plan is all about. Getting in shape either at home or in the gym, because we're all gonna get buffed together. Weighted glute bridges, 4 sets of 12 reps. You'll notice that in phase 1, we use these as well as our mobility routine, the lower body version. We're doing these because, as you'll see, they're weighted as opposed to the mobility, which is not. And Brennan has a towel over his crotchular region to prevent injury, because that's the last place a buff dude wants to get injured.
As you can see, we are doing the Bulgarian split squats with the weight held overhead. Now you're holding the weight overhead because what that happens is the center of gravity is raising upwards, so it's gonna take a lot more stability in the core and also the ankle. So it really gets the benefit of several things. You're not only getting a lot of work in the quads, hamstrings, glutes, but you're also getting a lot of the stabilizer muscles in the core and also the ankle to make sure you perform this exercise properly. What you want to do with this exercise is complete 4 sets of 10 reps each leg.
Manual hamstring curls, 4 sets, 12 reps. As you can see, we fashioned our own little do-it-yourself hamstring curl machine. We've just got the barbell loaded up with some 45 plates and some dumbbells to hold those into place. If you notice that the bar may be a little too high for your feet, go ahead and put some 25 pounders on that barbell so your feet fit properly.
What you want to do with this exercise is keep your body or the trunk of your body straight and don't bend back in the hips or don't bend in the waist so your hips are pushed backwards. You want to keep the body as straight as you possibly can to put as much stretch in the hamstrings. So if you push your hips back, it relieves a lot of that stretch and stress in the hamstrings, and you're not getting the full benefit of this exercise. It's really working on the negative portion of the lift. So once your feet are anchored under this barbell, you want to slowly drop the body into the floor and hold as much as you can, like Hudson said. Imagine like the floor is lava and you don't want to be falling in lava. So hold that position as long as you can, and as the hamstrings start giving out, drop yourself into the push-up position and push off from the floor just enough so that the hamstrings can take over and you get a nice concentric contraction to the top position.
Yeah. Seated calf raises, 3 sets, 20 reps. These are the exact same calf raises we did in the last phase, except in the last phase we used a barbell, whereas we're switching it up a little bit with dumbbells just to show that there's an alternate way of doing this. So feel free to do it whatever way you prefer, or you could just switch it up like we did. All right, about to get started with the donkey calf raises, 3 sets of 15 reps. We're using the weight belt here. You may notice throughout the duration of these phases and this whole 12-week home workout plan in general, me and Brandon are dressed pretty casual. I mean, as you can see right here, I've got sweatpants on, I'm just wearing my socks. That's the great thing about working out from home. You don't gotta impress anybody. We're just here to try to kick our own asses and get buff. We're moving right on to weighted planks, 3 sets, 30 seconds each. If you've got a buddy, they can put that weight on your back. And if you don't, you can just put it on your own back as you see Brandon doing. I could help, but hey, we only got one cameraman, so he's on his own. As you can see, it's actually pretty simple. The hard part is holding that plank for 30 seconds, but you can do it. Plyometric sit-ups, 3 sets, 20 reps. As you can see, Brandon just stuck his feet underneath 2 dumbbells, and that's gonna anchor you just good enough so that you can complete this exercise. All right, getting started on the last day of phase 2. Shoulders, we're beginning it with Cuban press. 3 sets, 12 reps. We're gonna keep this lightweight because we're just really trying to warm up our shoulders, get that mobility, and get ready for the rest of the workout. Overhead press, 4 sets, 10 reps. As you can see, we're going a little bit down in repetitions from the last phase, whereas the weight is going up just a little bit. This is gonna be a tough one, but you can do it. As you can see, we're kneeling, but if you have the option, like for instance, you do have a power rack in your home gym, feel free to use it there.
Single arm landmine press. So what you do, take the barbell, shove it in the corner, and this is good because it's a unilateral exercise and you're focusing on one side and then the next. So it's gonna really target any kind of weak points you might have in the shoulder. So let's say if you're doing overhead press over and over again and one side's a little bit more dominant, you could be causing a little bit more imbalances in the muscle because one side's pushing extra hard. With a unilateral exercise such as the single arm landmine press, you're really targeting which side is weaker, so you can add a couple extra reps on the weaker side just to make sure it's catching up with your dominant side. What you gotta do too is make sure the elbow is tucked a little closer to the body as you push. If it swings too wide, you're actually could be causing some impingements in the shoulder joint and possible injuries, so keep that elbow pretty close just like you do in an overhead press. It's gonna be 4 sets, 12 reps each side. Lying dumbbell lateral raise. This is another unilateral exercise focusing on one shoulder and then the next. And what you'll notice is the lying is gonna be a little bit more isolated and concentrated in the shoulder because there'll be no swing or movement other than the contraction of the shoulder to bring it to the top position. You're gonna start with the dumbbell in front of you to get a little extra stretch in the shoulder, contracting the lateral head of the deltoid to bring it to the top position, which you wanna stop when you are vertical to the floor. If you go past that, what's gonna happen is gonna cause a little pinch in the shoulder joint and the weight's gonna be pulling it in an unnatural position. So stop vertical and then slowly bring it down to the bottom position, which is located in front of you for that nice stretch. It's gonna be 3 sets of 12 repetitions each side. Bent over reverse fly. We're gonna be doing 3 sets of 12 repetitions. So you just want to bend at the waist. Your knees can be slightly bent as well. What you don't wanna do is feel too much stretch in the hamstrings on this one. So really just concentrate on bending over. If the back rounds slightly, that's okay because you're not really going very heavy with the weight. You really wanna be focusing on the posterior deltoid in this one. So you can be flying, just act like it's a reverse fly, just like the name says. So instead of coming in with your chest, you are pulling out with the arms and getting a nice contraction in the posterior delts and also a little bit in the traps. So keep it wide, don't bring it backwards, keep it outwards from the body. So bring it as laterally to the body as you possibly can to get a little bit more isolation in those posterior delts. Come all the way up, get a nice squeeze, and then slow it down on the way down to get a nice negative and eccentric contraction. If you want a little extra work and make it a little more difficult, what you do is you rotate your thumbs down as you are lifting outwards to get a little bit more contraction in those posterior delts. Little buff dude tip there.
Barbell shrugs, 4 sets, 15 reps. Just remember, it's all about visualization on this one. Imagine you're bringing those traps right up to the top of your ears. Just hold them up there and squeeze. Build those big old traps. Finger curls, a complete isolation of the forearm flexors. This one is gonna give you hell. Those forearms are gonna be on fire. And when you're sitting on the bench, you're gonna wanna have complete support of the forearm. So after you've lifted the weight and you're getting ready to start the exercise, just go ahead and support your full forearm on the bench. There's gonna be 3 sets, 15 reps. Moving on to reverse curls, 3 sets, 15 reps. These ones are working the forearm extensors and just a little bit of the biceps. All right, that wraps up day 4 of phase 2. That means we're halfway done with the phase. I hope you're still with us and strap yourselves in because it's only gonna get harder from here.
And we also have a gym edition as well. So let's say you don't have a home gym, but you still want to do this program. You can follow along our videos that we're going to be doing the same program in the gym.
and that's gonna be phases 1 through 4 as well. And remember, we don't charge for these plans, but YouTube has an awesome fan funding option. So if you'd like to show some support, feel free. But hey, if not, that's cool too. They're gonna stay free because we want everybody to get buff along with us. So we'll see you next for phase 3. Stay buff, and we'll see you soon.